Without a shadow of a doubt, it's the Crumpet Show in social media history. I want to welcome you back to another episode of Dirty Politrickz. I got my man Chuck Mall in the building. And you know who I am. Get on the phone and call him and tell him I am the 5-star general. Man, the county workers then sued the county, and 5-star has sued the election administrator. His lawsuit being chunked like never before. Y'all sit back, man, and it's good to be back. Let's go. Say, man, I want to welcome you to another episode of Dirty Politrickz and tell you thank you for taking the time out to tune in. You know, without you good people, we wouldn't have a show. So I want to apologize, and I think y'all know that I've been out there campaigning, so it's been kind of hard to get to the shows, but we ain't went nowhere. We've been out working. Chuck been doing his thing. I've been doing my thing. Aubrey been doing his thing. But I tell you what, I think we're making some progress, and it is what it is. What's been going on, Chuck?
Hey, man, I do a lot of private investigative work for defense attorneys. Mm-hmm. So used to, a long time ago in law enforcement, when I worked in the FBI, I put people in jail. And now I work hard to get people out of jail. So It's kind of like a totally different thing compared to what I used to do. But one of the things, I'd say about 20% of the cases I get, we prove that the people aren't guilty. We either get the case dismissed or we prove in court that they're not guilty. And, the Harris County Jail is one of the worst jails around in this country, with overcrowding, with fights, with unsanitary conditions. And we're basically the third largest city in the United States. And we've got one of the worst jails there is. I think New York's probably worse.
But how can that be with the amount of funding that they allocate for this jail? How can it be that bad with all the money they keep giving, to the system?
Mm-hmm. Well, and so they're listed as John Doe 1 and John Doe 2 on behalf of themselves and a class, all others similarly situated. So there's a bunch of people that work at the Harris County Jail that signed on to this lawsuit. And what's interesting is they won't give their names up front because they're worried about retaliation. I mean, that's how dirty things are in Harris County, that if they bring this lawsuit, they're going to get harassed unmercilessly by the county officials. And so,
I'm trying to understand their way of doing it, because everybody has a right to face their accuser. So eventually they're going to have to come to court.
Yeah, eventually they will. But initially, the first part of it, they're listed as John Doe's because they're worried about getting fired or getting laid off or getting screwed over, basically. Because this is going to take a while going through the courts. This isn't going to be fast. So eventually, the other side will get their names. But what's interesting about this lawsuit is this isn't about party. This isn't about Republicans or Democrats. This is about Harris County and the people who've been running Harris County for the past 20 years on both sides. It's sad. We can go into some of the details about it. And it's unbelievable, the allegations they're making. And the sad part is it's not that hard to file charges against somebody and get somebody arrested. You just need some probable cause and a little bit to back it up, right? Mm-hmm. But it's harder to convict somebody. But if somebody makes an allegation, you could get picked up and arrested, falsely arrested. Okay.
In Harris County?
Yeah, in Harris County.
Oh, when they gonna pick up County Commissioner Ellis?
There's not a want. You got to have a want. In other words, not a warrant. You got to have a want. You got to want to do the job.
I think we need to want to get these people up out of office that ain't doing their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the best time in the world for them to go at the county, especially the police department or whatever we want to call it. Law enforcement, go at them, because I think that the sheriff is up for a job in DC with Biden, and it's the time to buck him. This the time. I mean, see, I had a problem in corporate America, and I couldn't keep my mouth shut because I wasn't just gonna let people treat me any kind of way. I read some of the things that they were saying, but I want you to enlighten the people, especially the part where they won't allow them to go use the restroom. Tell these folks what's really going on inside of that county jail, man.
Yeah. So the allegations they're making, they show in this lawsuit that they filed, they show from like 2000 to today how almost every year, I think it is every year, as I was reading through it, they continually fail these inspections by the state. Okay, so there's a state facility connected to the jail system that's supposed to set minimum standards. And the Harris County jail system continually fails minimum standards when they do inspections. Okay. And they allege, let me just start going through some of it here. And we'll start talking about some of these issues they're bringing up here. The Texas Commission on Jail Standards sets minimum jail standards that must be followed by each county jail in the state of Texas. And so they start their history on this. Well, first we'll go to this. It says defendants purposely, meaning the defendants, meaning the county. So they sued Hidalgo, they sued Garcia, they sued Ellis, they sued the other two, Republican, Cagle and Ramsey. They sued all of them. Okay, they sued all five of them. And so they're listed as the defendants in this case. The defendants purposefully underfund and understaff the jail, automatically resulting in an intentional mismanagement of the Harris County jail facilities. This conduct also has put inmates at risk and harm, resulting in increased deaths and injuries. So think about it. How many times does somebody get killed or severely injured in the Harris County jail? And what are we going to do about it? I mean, these people most of these people haven't been proven guilty. They're just holding till their trial. Okay.
But Chuck, are they really trying to do something about this? Is the state going to do something about it?
Well, it's the county.
We're talking about Harris County, man.
We're talking about Harris County. Harris County was responsible. That's one of the main duties of the county commissioners and county judge. It's one of their main duties is to have a jail facility functioning and running and operating properly and safely. So that way, while people are incarcerated for their cases, they're not treated like cattle and they're not at risk for losing their lives.
I tell you what, they ain't treating them like cattle. In the Harris County jail, you got some black slaves, some white slaves, some Latino slaves, some immigrant slaves. They treat them like slaves. And they know they treat them like slaves. But see, it's Harris County, man. These folks ain't trying to do nothing to help nobody.
And what your viewers need to kind of understand here is these are jail officials that are asking for help, asking for better funding to better take care of the facility. Obviously, they're asking for money for pay raises because the average person works at the Harris County jail for 2 years. Only 2 years because they don't want to work there after 2 years.
Well, hold on, Chuck. I'm confused. Hold on, Chuck. Chuck, hold on, Chuck.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same county where the little woman tried to give away $11 million to her homegirl.
Yep.
The same county that's tearing up all our streets for these whack bike lanes they putting out there, spending millions and millions of dollars on that. And you telling me these people are not being paid the right way? Where is the money?
Exactly. And let me pull back here to the most recent budget. So I can pull these numbers up here. Okay, here it is. On February 9th, 2021, Harris County Commissioners, the defendants, unanimously passed a $3.3 billion county spending budget for fiscal year 21 to 22. The budget increased about 2% over the previous year's budget. Roughly $2 billion was allocated to the general fund. That means they can do whatever the hell they want to, the general fund, whatever.
That's right, man. Let's pick it, Mike.
Harris County proposed budget 2021. By information and belief, overtime costs for jail employees was not factored in to the budget for the Harris County Sheriff's Office, although defendants were well aware and had knowledge that the Harris County Jail was seriously understaffed and underfunded and would accrue significant overtime costs as it has in previous years. Defendants refused to address the deplorable conditions for staff and inmates in the Harris County Jail. So $3.3 billion budget, and we can't take care of the jail properly. In other words, what are they going to do? I said, well, we need to raise property tax. We'll raise another $1 billion, and we'll throw most of that in the general fund, and then we'll use a little bit for the Harris County Jail.
You know what?
They need to use the money they got.
You know what I noticed when you said that? Y'all know we've been MIA for a few days, but I'm back, and I'm very opinionated. These motherfuckers stealing. It is no other way. 3.3 billion, and we got people complaining about some raises that don't affect your budget this much. Mm-hmm. This county's been in an uproar since Rodney Ellis took his seat, man. Ever since this man took his seat, and then he got his little compadre, Adrian, in there with him, this county has been flipped upside down since this dude came from Austin, from being a state senator to being a county commissioner. And the only way we can fix this, we got to kick this dude out of town.
Yeah, I mean, think about it like this. It's like HISD that you're dealing with. It's like you keep pumping more and more students in the classroom, but you don't get extra teachers, or you don't split up and have an extra teacher with extra take half the class, half the students, and move them over to the other class with the teacher, because you've got less people managing the jail. So you're going to have more fights, more contraband. You're going to have less cleaning of the jail to make sure it's sanitary and safe. You're going to have less time to interact with patients. I mean, with inmates that have mental health issues. So they get beat up by the other inmates. It's just a big, huge problem growing, and nobody seems to care, because, hey, you go to jail, screw you. That's your problem. That's the way people are looking at this.
Well, that's not the way it should be. What can I say, man? I mean, we've been dealing with some of these issues for years, over and over. We don't want to change out these, and it's not Chuck saying this, y'all. So don't look at Chuck funny. I say things because I'm an African American. We got these Negro politicians that are just straight up garbage that don't do nothing for us. They just in positions to make all the money that they want to make. And you notice that every time there seems to be some major corruption in Harris County, the city of Houston, it's always a person of color that's involved. And yeah, I'm calling y'all out, man. I'm calling y'all out. Y'all can't keep your hands to yourself. But you know what my father used to tell me, Chuck?
What's that?
Say you'll never understand the character of a man until you put him in a room full of money. You'll never understand. I feel bad for the guys that may be in jail that should not even be there. They're innocent people that's locked up in jail that's going through this. You know, and regardless if they did something or if they did not do something, you don't treat people inhumane just because they're in jail. And
Well,
I'm just
you make people. So if people get in the system, let's say you have a crime, let's say it's a felony, but it's your first felony, you get involved, you get locked up in Harris County for a while, you're going to come out worse than you were before, meaner than you were before, more pissed off at society than before. So you're not helping lessen crime. You're making crime worse in the county by having this festering sore that you won't do anything about.
Well, I mean, the thing is, Ellis is coming up for an election. Garcia is coming up for an election. Hidalgo is coming up. What reason should they stay? Because we want more symbolism. We want to keep Hidalgo in there because she's young, she's Hispanic or Latino or Tejano, whatever she is, and yet she ain't got the sense of two dead flies smashed together. And people want to, oh, she's doing a great job. No, she's not. She's horrible.
Well, and she's got like a child idea of how to do things too.
She is a child.
So when COVID first hit, her thought process on how to deal with stuff in Harris County was to let everybody, and when I say everybody, I mean almost everybody out of that jail. So let 95% to 98% of everybody get out of that jail. Instead of saying, well, let's fix it, let's make it safer, let's just let everybody go out. So in other words, it's like being at your house and there's problems with your house and you don't fix your house. You just say everybody's got to get out of the fucking house. So that's not how you solve a problem. So crime's already up 30% from what it was the year before. So, make it safe for people that are in there in the jail.
Let's just be honest. When the white politicians complain about the rise in crime, here come the bail reform advocates or the justice reform advocates, who are normally people of color that want to call them racist, and you just want to keep people locked up. But then we look at the number and the amount of people that have been murdered by people who were out on multiple bails. And, I just think, and it doesn't matter, Chuck, we're going to shake some trees every time we come on. And we just got to say what we got to say. I want to know how you feel as a white man in America when the black people almost, or people of color, control this county and don't do anything about what's being done right now. How do you feel as a white American living in the third largest city in America when we know it doesn't have to be like this?
Yeah. So I care about the core issues. In other words, I do care about law enforcement and having good, strong law enforcement and good prosecutions. Okay. But I also care that while people are sitting in jail, that it's a safe environment and not a dangerous, deadly environment. In other words, because law enforcement does make mistakes. And you don't need to be tortured while it's being adjudicated and worked out. I can have both both ideas at the same time. In other words, we don't have to have the crappy bail reform idea, which was to let people out with numerous felonies. That's like idiotic. I can sympathize and say, okay, there are people that are poor and cannot afford to get out of jail, okay, in Harris County. So one solution, make the jail a little safer for them. Two, there are programs that can be created to help people pay for bail that meet criteria, and criteria not mean you're
but on the real, Chuck, why don't we just try not violating the law? See, we're putting too much effort into things to help people once the law is violated. Why don't we just not violate the law? I think that can be done. I'm not giving nobody no pass. If you don't like the conditions of the jail and you done been there 20 times, your ass need to stay there. If you don't like what they doing to you, then don't do nothing to go up in there. But while they're there, I totally agree with you that they don't have to be treated inhumane.
Correct.
And that's exactly what Harris County is notorious for. It's been like that forever. And it is what it is. But we will not step up to the plate and call these people out the way that we should. And me traveling around the country, I've seen it. Most of what's going on like this in these types of situations with horrendous jail conditions in the cities that I've been to, that are controlled by Democratic government, it's like that. I don't know if they all running the same playbook or just everybody trying to get rich off the back of poor people. And if you poor and don't like the jail conditions, don't do nothing to go up in there. That's another thing. But it seems to be the common mantra out here nowadays that, if you go to Minneapolis and they're democratically controlled, it's chaos. It's chaos. And it's like everybody's looking for a way to get people out of jail, but you're not setting them up to where they don't even have to go.
Well, and in Harris County, too, a big problem, because I do a lot of juvenile defense as well. And in middle school, kids, it's unbelievable the crimes that are committed from kids that are in middle school that have no idea of the consequences and the silliness of the crime they've committed. Like robbing somebody for $100, and yet risking that person's life, risking their life, and then possibly being involved in 5 years worth of court and jail time over something that they could have made in a week or 2 weeks working somewhere part-time. I mean, it's unbelievable.
When you're dealing with children, you're dealing with a lot of different variables. You're dealing with school systems. You're dealing with absentee parents. You're dealing with a lot of different things. Mm-hmm. But most of the kids that me and they end up being in school all day. They end up being in a controlled environment that has zero discipline, zero accountability for what they do. So who would think that they would get out there and kill somebody and think it was a laughing matter? Who would think they would think anything differently? Yeah, because there's no consequences for anything that they do nowadays. So, they've made it easy for folks to get out of jail, but they're not doing anything to stop them from going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think the way to really get a handle on crime in Harris County is if you start in middle school, you start really educating kids about the silliness of the majority of the crimes that are committed by kids, by teenagers. They really don't know that much about the world, and they really don't understand how this one little thing they're going to do is so dangerous for them, the person, the victim, their community, and how much it affects their lives and stunts their growth for the rest of their life. And so if you awaken a lot of these kids and you get more than half of them, half of the ones that end up committing crimes, to not commit these crimes, to better educate them related to that, I think you'll keep people from then getting in the system and being 29 years old. Because once you get in the system, it's hard to get back out of it and get back to a healthy lifestyle that helps you and your family. And I think especially that's where you could help out in HISD. I think there's some things that can be done to really help these kids.
Well, HISD is a different beast. And as I've been out campaigning, I've still been working, y'all, dealing with education, and you can't fix HISD unless you exterminate the whole damn building. And what I mean by that is you want kids to always do the right thing. You teach them to do the right things. We should be raising them to do the right thing. But the highest law of order is a trustee of the district. How can some of these trustees come out now campaigning like they care so much about kids and they want them to do right when they're sitting on the board of trustees taking kickbacks from vendors? Yeah, I'm calling y'all out tonight, man. I'm not going to play the game. How can these people, and I'm glad, and I think y'all tell me if I'm wrong, I'm glad that they took that money from 50 Cent the rapper. Because if they mess over his money, he gonna embarrass them. But that's what they're known to do. They don't set the kids up for success. They're setting them up for failure. And the thing is, the more we've allowed them to have the flexibility to do what they needed to do, it slowly started to shift. See, because there used to be a time, Chuck, where only minority kids were getting screwed. That was it. Just black, Latino, they just mess over. So the good suburban white family, they didn't worry about it. Their kids were doing great. But the pandemic exposed them. And then white suburbia saw that they were messing over their kids too. Like right now, people, y'all keep thinking about the mask and all that. And why is it that every time there's a function, the other day they 50 Cent showed up and they did the big unveiling of the program. Why district officials ain't wearing no mask? Oh, I guess your partner got the contract, so you getting a kickback from it. So you ain't got to wear your mask when it's time, but you forcing these kids to wear them. It's just things that I see, things that I know, Chuck, that a lot of people don't know. That this whole HISD thing could be transformed, and the ideas that you have, we could get that into the middle school. This middle school level. But they don't want that. This school system is designed white people, black people, Asian, Latino, Tejano immigrants. It is designed to feed the prison system. That's what it's designed to do. So what does that say about the new superintendent that's here? Big homie. I got my eyes on you. Go ahead, Chuck.
Well, one way to one thing I heard recently. Now this is a national situation, but it reflects to Harris County as well. There was this one study recently that showed how over the past 10 years, this is with schools and with colleges, that the amount of teachers increased at an average rate, let's say, of 10 to 15% every year. The surprising part was administrators were like 4 to 5 times increased every year. So in other words, it's like one of those old Viking boats where you got people at the oars. You know, you should have more people at the oars pushing the boat than you've got somebody barking out orders at the front and somebody running around giving water to everybody. In other words, when you've got more people barking out orders and running around giving water to everybody and less people rowing the boat.
You there, Chuck?
So in other words, I would check into, Gary, one of the things I think you should do is check into how many people, what's the percentage of teachers versus every other staff, every other person related to administration compared to teachers. What's the percentage?
Well, Chuck, let me tell you
what. The administrators are more than 5% of the employees at Harris County, it's fucked up because what you need is you need teachers, you need bus drivers, you need people cleaning the facility, and you need people working the cafeteria.
Okay,
everything else is not
what you need right now in HISD is y'all need to hear the truth. Chuck, you saying this a nice way, so I'm gonna say it a simpler way, but I'm gonna say it to make sure that they understand what laws are being violated right now on 9/29/21. I had a virtual meeting with the superintendent. Nice guy. We discussed a few things. And one of the things that we discussed was the fact that right now, at this moment, HISD is in violation of state law and federal law because they get state and federal money. They get it based on the children that are there. You know, we know they get Title I funding for the economically disadvantaged kids, and they do that through free lunch. They figure that out through free lunch programs and different things. Mm-hmm. So if you trustees are listening, let's see if you can get on the horn and get with your superintendent, because I'm sick of it right now. See, I told you I've been campaigning, but I've been working. So, Mr. Superintendent, can you tell Chuck and me and all these people out here how many schools right now that you have where your administrators that run the school, the principals, are falsifying documentation to say that you have certified teachers in the classroom, where you say it was not enough teachers, Chuck? Mm-hmm. Not enough teachers in the school. But what you're doing is the administrator, if I'm the substitute, Chuck, and you are in another classroom, and I'm the long-term sub in this classroom, and I'm teaching math. Well, I'm not certified to teach math. So what they do to cover their behind so that they don't lose the money, they put your name as a teacher of record. This is what's going on in HISD right now. In multiple times 4, multiple schools. These people are falsifying records right now under this superintendent who's brand new. So, brother, if you think that I'm going to play the game, no, you need to address it right now. But they're too busy. The trustees are too busy behind the scenes plotting to push another bond through for their political friends and their contractor friends. They're too busy doing that. If your child is not getting certified instruction in a classroom for 30 consecutive days, you have the right to pull them out that school and send them to any school that you want to send them to. You have the right to opt out of the STAR test. You don't have to take the test because they're not getting certified education. Now, when you report these things to them, and while this is going on, administrators are steadily being promoted, just like you said. They're steadily being promoted. They're making more money. The teacher union know what's going on. They in bed with the trustees. Now, my question is to all of y'all, how can you be the superintendent of a school district? You come here to say you're going to change things, and yet it's the same shit we've been dealing with for 20 years. That's why these kids not learning nothing. So, yeah, I just threw y'all out there. And every one of you board members know what's going on. They know what's going on. But guess what? They don't care enough about these children to do anything about it. And the reason that they're short of teachers is because, one, you treat them like they're garbage. You underpay them and you treat them like they're garbage. The average teacher works 16, 17 hours a day, Chuck. And for what they're paying them, ain't nobody going to stay in them jobs, man.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they're doing to your kids right now. HISD is in violation of state and federal law because they don't want to lose the money at the end of the year because they had all these uncertified teachers. So they fabricating teachers on the record. But yet you got kids sitting in classrooms with no teachers. You sit in whole classrooms to the gym. Come on, man.
Well, and education nowadays in schools has gotten so far away from the three basic things that need to be taught. You know, math, English, sciences. I mean, if you're not teaching that, if the kids aren't succeeding at that, it doesn't matter what they know in civics. It doesn't matter what they know in all these other social sciences. You know, that's the three core issues. If kids excel at those three core issues, they'll succeed in life. But if they can only exceed at one of those, but they can exceed at all these, you know, social sciences that really are not of great value, they're going to struggle all their life.
It's designed for them to fail long term. See, short term, we don't see the results. We see it long term. We see it long term. And, you know, a lot of people tell me, Chuck, they say, you're so angry. I say, well, you're the problem because you should be just as angry as I am at what we know is being done. I'm not angry. I'm passionate. I want these kids to succeed. I've proven that over the years. I want them to succeed. So with that being said, I mean, we are allowing these people to do this. We are allowing the county judges and the commissioners to do the things that they're doing. When we have the power, which is called a vote, to really mess this game up. But we're so caught up in what political party that we're in. We just can't understand that sometimes the right person may have the wrong color on. They might have the right person just might be a Democrat. But you live in a Republican district. The right person might be a Republican, but you're in a Democratic district. Stop looking at the D's and the R's because it's really affecting our children. Your children are pawns to these people. They're pawns to them. If the world is a chessboard, then the kids are the pawns on the chessboard. They don't care how they lose them. They don't care about nothing. But if we don't step up, they're going to keep doing it, Chuck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If people like the way the schools are run right now and they think they're run well, then they need to vote for the people that are already in office. If anybody has kids in school in HISD and thinks the HISD could be improved, then get rid of the idiots that are in there and put new people in because the ones in there aren't doing the job.
How can you expect change when we got all these problems? Look at all these problems were created by the same people that some of these groups are endorsing right now. The same people they trying to put back in office. So are they putting them back in there for the best interest of the kid? Or are they putting them in there for the best interest of their organization, their union, their company? You don't put a problem back into a situation and then try to fix the problem. Am I campaigning for your vote? Because no, I'm going to tell you this, Chuck, and I think you're real with it. I don't think they should vote for me. If you want me to be corrupt, don't vote for me. If you don't want me to give a damn about a kid, don't vote for me. If you think I'm going to miss meetings and I'm going to be good with that, don't vote for me. If you think I'm going to sit quiet and watch these people violate the law, don't vote for me. Because that's not who I am. I'm going to stand up. And it's time for us to go get some fighters, no matter what positions they're in. And we need to get these folks up in there and do what's right by all of the people. Now, even, we sitting there, we talking tonight about the county. Let's not forget the city, what they just went through with Turner and the allegations made by Tom McCaskill against Turner with the housing situation. It's always some BS with these black politicians. But here's my take on that. Tom, it was all good when y'all was in bed together, huh? You had nothing to say as long as y'all was in bed together. As long as you had free reign to do what you wanted to do, it was all good. You see what I'm saying? What you think, Chuck?
Yeah, it's just incestuous. It's giving out contracts so you can line your friends' pockets so they can line your pockets. It's just incest. It's not about caring about the city. It's not about caring about the county. If we cared about the county, we would do something about the jails. If we cared about the lack of education in the school system, we would do something about it. All these people say, well, it's real difficult. It's really difficult. We're trying. It's really difficult. No, it's not that difficult. Cut the fat, cut the waste, and get down to business and stick to the core values. Core values in education, core values in law enforcement, core values in taking care of the jail system, taking care of the roads. All this other stuff is a bunch of shit that we don't need to waste time on.
Well, what he basically telling y'all, some of y'all need some nuts big as tennis balls. You gonna have to stand up. It's not going to change until you stand up. It's not going to change until you start blowing whistles. It's not going to change until you buck the system. Stop believing that these people have our best interests at heart, because they don't. I'm sorry, but they don't. I love my people. I love y'all to death. But y'all are some of the dumbest that I've ever seen in my life. You will continue to support people that oppress us that are our own color. You will continue to stand with people that ain't doing nothing for us, our community, our kids, nothing. But yet you always want change. You always want change. And I'm being honest with you, Chuck, it's really not hard to fix a lot of these problems. It's really not hard to fix a lot of these problems. We got to want to fix them. We got to want it fixed.
Well, like go to any rough neighborhood in Harris County and talk to some of the people that have lived in the neighborhood for the longest and say, where's the problem at? They can direct you right to it. It's not like it's a mystery where most of the crime originates. And so it's not a mystery of how to deal with it. It's a lack of will to deal with it.
Well, some people get in office, like a lot of city council people act like their hands are tied because Turner will not allow them to do this and allow. Turner didn't vote you in. The people did. Buck him. Buck him. But the best thing that could ever happen, man, we don't have but what? What we got? 2 more years of this dude? 2 more years of this.
2023, I think. Yeah.
No, I think he come out in 24, don't
he? He won in 2019.
It was 18. I think it was 18. I think.
18.
Yeah, so he comes out in 22. So he's in his last days. You know what I'm saying? He's in his last days.
So what is he doing in his last days? Trying to
Stacking
line
paper.
for one of his friends.
He's stacking paper. Yeah, I said it, Mr. Mayor. You stacking paper. The man is so disrespectful, man. Ooh, bro. I don't even. It's nothing about him that makes me feel good about anything that he does. He's just a nasty person. And when I say nasty, he has a deplorable attitude. And he's worse than a woman because he stays in his emotions too much. You can't really hold a conversation with him because he gets too emotionally tied to his feelings. And then just like the man called him out the other day, so you go in there and you fired. He never wants to be wrong. Well, Mr. Mayor, you ain't been wrong the whole time you've been in office, bro. We were wrong. The people were wrong. Not Gary Monroe, because I didn't vote for you. I knew you was a sucker. But the people that voted for him, y'all were wrong. And this is what we have to deal with when you put the wrong people in power. You were wrong for voting Rodney Ellis in. You were wrong. You were wrong for voting some of those city council people in. So the question is when it's time to vote them out, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Or will, because it's almost Thanksgiving, Chuck. So I want you to come hang out in the hood this year and watch how they come get the votes. They show up with trucks full of turkeys. So for a turkey leg, you sell the whole hood out. And then you want it to get better. It ain't gonna never get better, man. It ain't gonna never get better. And as far as the school system, it can't get better until we just drain the swamp on these people. It can't get better.
Yeah, it's when so much money's involved, it's just sad because why fix the problem? These people are wasting time. They're not wanting to fix the problem. They claim the problem's too difficult. Well, if it's too difficult, get the hell out of the way and let somebody else try.
Yeah, he comes out. You're right. He comes out in 23. So the thing is, in 23, he can't run again. So he has to come out. So now the question is who takes his place? Who takes his place? And as much as I want to support some of these people, if you want city council during Turner's term, I can't support you for mayor. I can't. I'm sorry. You didn't stand up for us. You didn't do anything. You wouldn't run against the tyrant. I mean, some days you got a buck. I can't support you. I can't support because if you fail there, you're gonna fail if you're the mayor. And we can't keep having these failures. This place is too unsafe to deal with somebody that doesn't know how to run city government, somebody that does not know how to run county government. And I just want them to know, Chuck, and maybe you can expound on it. The positions you sit in determine that you're going to get a bunch of money anyway. But why not take care of the people while you're getting your money? Can't steal all the money, man.
Yeah, in these elections coming up, notice who talks about issues and how to solve them versus who talks about platitudes and stuff that really has no effect on it. In other words, if the politician wastes their time on race, on polls, and little slogans, then they have no substance. Tell me how you're going to solve a problem. That's what I want to vote for. Somebody that's got a good idea to solve a problem.
Hold on a second, Chuck. Keep talking.
Yeah. So like with the integrity laws, it was all about side issues, not about substance. When We had two legislators on here, and we talked about the actual issues. We agreed on most of the issues that were in the bill. We only had a few things that we disagreed on that we could work together on. But nationally, what you heard was the laws were racist, the laws were evil, they were bad, they were Jim Crow. That has nothing to do with the actual inner workings of the voter integrity laws. So pay attention to these politicians that waste time on side issues and not telling you how they're going to solve a problem.
One of the best ones out there doing that right now is Lee Merritt. He never talks about what he's done that qualifies him for the position of Attorney General. All he keeps doing is talk about racism, Ken Paxton. Dude, can you tell us why you need to be the Attorney General? You telling us why Ken don't need to be the Attorney General. And I'm just sick of, I don't even look at that foolishness he writes no more. Because I'm like, dude, we get it. What you just said that 1,000 times. But what qualifies you to sit in the position? What qualifies you? I don't know what qualifies some of these people running for school board, because you can't even get them in an open forum. They won't even openly debate. They filling out questionnaires and won't answer the tough questions. And we gonna base who we put on the school board on forums where they sitting there and talk for 1 minute? Man, you be to mess around and got Charles Manson sitting on the school board. I don't get it, Chuck, but at the end of the day, I know you woke, I'm woke, and a lot of these good people out here that's listening are woke. Y'all got to do a better job at picking representation. Keep your eyes on this stuff, this lawsuit, realistically, because it's probably one of the first I've ever heard, in the country that's being filed the way it's being filed. Kudos to those people that stood up and filed that lawsuit with the county, because they shouldn't work under those conditions, and those guys shouldn't have to live under those conditions. Mm-hmm. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I want to applaud them because they didn't have to. They didn't have to. But, the only thing I can tell them, eventually you're going to have to go to court and they're going to figure out who you are. But see, me, I'm not the dude that'll hide. I'd have filed it and stood right behind my name on it. And if you wrongfully terminate me behind this here, then I'll sue you too. I'll sue you again for that. And see, it's something I've said for a few years. We're so worried about our 40-acre and a mule. We worried about our house and our cars, so we ain't gonna do what's right. No, sometimes you got to put it all on the line. You got to put it all on the line and stand up for what's right. Give them your final thoughts, Chuck.
Yeah, well, I'm really excited about HISD for you and for those other 3 candidates that are running with you to unseat the people that are in there, because I think one of the core things is we've got to improve the schools. We've got to improve the core education and take care of these kids, or we're going to end up with more and more people in the crowded jail system that we're not taking care of.
I tell y'all what, man, my final thoughts are simple. Tomorrow night, I'm doing a virtual fundraiser on this show. I need you to grab the flyer, send it out, man. We got to raise some money. We really got, 2 more times to really raise money. We got to raise some money now to get some more signs. We need to secure funding for poll workers on election day. I want to cover the polls. If you've given, thank you so much. But if you haven't, I need your help. And if you have given, I need your help again. So, but the thing is we've got this fundraiser, and then we'll have one closer to election day to make sure we got everything we need for election day. Y'all been riding with me since January when we started this journey together. We're in the 4th quarter, and we are almost home. We are almost home. I respect my opponents, no matter if it was on the field or in the political arena. But I tell you this, and this is how I truly feel, Chuck.
Mm-hmm.
This is how I truly feel. December 21st, 1985, Texas Stadium, Yates versus Odessa Permian. We know how that ended. Yates 37, Odessa Permian 0. To both of my formidable opponents on election day, I'm coming to mash you. I'm coming to mash you. Open forums from here on out, debates, I'm coming to mash you. You don't deserve the right to represent our children. You would not come to a school board meeting for 4 years. You didn't give a damn about them then, and you don't give a damn about them now. So guess what? Just so that you'll know, I'm a Yates Lion. I was on that team, Chuck. And I'm going to kick y'all ass November 2nd, just like you was Odessa Permian. Say, man, it's a reason. We the best in the business. Say, every night, 7 o'clock, when we here right now, because we running for election, YouTube and Facebook. Thank my good friend Chuck Mahler. And I am the 5-star general. November 2nd, we're going to shock the world. And to answer your question, Anthony, we already on top of the cheating. In my Cedric the Entertainer voice, I wish some fucker would. You're going to go to jail in them horrible conditions in Harris County. We'll holler at y'all, man. Next show, tomorrow night. Virtual fundraiser. Come help your boy out. I'll see you then.